Brought to you by Brand South Africa.
Africa's on the brink of a major transformation. Over the last decade, the continent was home to 6 of the world's 10 fastest growing economies. Outlook for the region remains bright at a time when the rest of the world is facing major political and economic challenges. The 2012 World Economic Forum on Africa is currently underway in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Godfrey Mutizwa spoke to Geoffrey Qhena, who's CEO of the IDC, asked as to where IDC is headed and how much they're spending.
I think it's important for regional integration, which is why our mandate since 2000 has been extended to that. In terms of the allocation, about 15%, that's what we're looking at. I mean, of IDC's financing being outside of South Africa, into the African continent, because of our mandate. Now, if you look at IDC's balance sheet, we're about 100 billion rands, so 15% of that, that's what we're aiming to do. Presently, we're just over 5 billion. Naturally, because of proximity, the big part of that has been to Mozambique, but now we're seeing into DRC. I think naturally, the approach is we start SADC, but we move all the way. I mean, we have projects as far as Nigeria, Ghana, and all of that. But the main area of focus for us now is to really look at supporting the industrial infrastructure, what we refer to as industrial infrastructure. That infrastructure, when you invest into it, that will enable to unlock it. So we'll be looking at power, we'll be looking at roads as well, because we find that those help, yeah.
Sure. Now, in terms of finding those projects, how difficult is it?
Well, Godfrey, there's lots of projects, but they're not easy because we have to develop them. Some of them have to be tied. If you're looking at, for example, if you're looking at a mine, you have to look at the infrastructure tied to that. So it's not easy. But I think projects are there. I mean, there's lots of initiatives. There's a NEPAD Business Foundation which is looking at those. But also the countries that are there. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of opportunities. It's the actually packaging of those projects, yeah, so that they are financeable, which is where we have to put in a lot of money. So what we're doing as IDC, then we're coming in a little bit early so that we help in the feasibility and the pre-feasibility studies to make sure that then they are packaged. Because once you have them, they are big ticket items, then it will be easier to bring in other investors.
Yeah. And in terms of tenure, what sort of tenure terms are you looking at?
Well, we're long-term investors. Right. I think it is important when you go into these African countries, but even in South Africa, we're long-term investors. So it will really talk to the project itself, which is why the products that we would also offer equity position, so then that takes you that. But if we offer loans, we can go 7, 10 years, even 15 years if it requires it.
Yeah. And from the work that you have done, what have you seen in terms of returns and in terms of the interactions as well as the experiences of dealing with those people who perhaps have not dealt with an institution such as yours?
Well, we define returns not only in monetary terms, but what we call developmental returns, where jobs get created, so you see the employment happening, where you see in that region, as a result of that investment, other investments happening. So that's that. So from the investments that we've had, we've seen very good results on that. I mean, naturally on the financing side, we've seen a very positive ones. I think in outside of South Africa, we've seen actually there's been very few instances where we've lost some money. We have. It's not easy. We have, but relative to South Africa. But let's look at it historically. That's where our big base is. Yeah, sure. So I mean, but I think for us the comfort is that if we don't do those investments, then it will become difficult for Africa to be industrialized.
Yeah. Now, when you spoke at the dinner that was hosted by Brand SA around trying to improve regional integration, you spoke about a story that of some of the work that you did in the DRC and the difference that you make. In terms of the criteria that you consider for those kind of projects, can you just give us a broad sense?
Well, when we look at a project, we look at its impact. Because if we just look at the financial returns, then I think any other financial institution should be able to do that. So we're saying if we invest into this, what impact will it have in terms of job creation, in terms of the impact in other facilitating or at least stimulating other investments around it. Also, then we look at the issues of it being able to generate foreign currency as well. So the story we're looking at is now when that investment was made, because that investment was talking to supporting building of roads. That as a result of that, then the lives of the people becomes easy because they go much quicker to work. If they are sick, they can go easier to the places of health to be. So it's that impact to say, let's look at it, what impact does it have other than just the financial return.